Welcome, welcome, welcome to another lovely episode of the PantyNectar podcast. It has been a while since I have chit-chatted with you guys, but if you follow on any of my other social media platforms, then you have been keeping up with all things PantyNectar. And one of those things is I have been under the weather recently. I'm finally getting better, getting out of it, so excuse my voice for this episode. People are probably like, cringe. I sound like a 50-year-old smoker. But I want to say thank you for joining us today, regardless if you're listening at the grocery store, at home, in your office, at work. I know some of you are, and that is okay. Thank you for joining us today. I wanted to kind of blindside Mr. P a little bit and talk about a topic that I think can relate to a lot of people. So one of those things is, on Discord, we have something called Anonymous Confessions. And one of the, there was a thread that got started on under one of the confessions that was talking about this guy. He was venting about his wife. So I'm going to read confession number 76 if you are inside the Discord server. He said, I am trying to fix my sex life with my wife. I love her, but I feel like she's wasted my best years of sexual performance being stingy in the bedroom. The ratio of me initiating to her initiating is at least 50-1, and this is not counting the number of times I've been turned down. I've tried being completely present, picking up extra slack to make life even easier, being attentive and affectionate without initiating, and it went months and months without anything from her. It's a real drain because I'm used to having a sort of power-us in bed, but her lack of interest since locking things down has me dying for a partner that can match my enthusiasm for sex, or at least feel like there's mutual desire. Right now, it just seems like a sort of allowance for good behavior, which sucks all the enjoyment out of it. And under that thread, there were a couple other guys you can see on here. There were a couple other people that they responded specifically to that confession, saying, wow, like, I understand that. My wife's the same way, or my relationship is the same way. And it had me thinking one day, like, I think it would be good for us to talk about what we do, because we're not the couple that's going to sit here and say, pick out date nights, go to dinner, go have sweet date nights with each other. That's not how we work either. We have a life, we have a busy life. And sometimes the thing that can lack from that is the whole dating thing. But I think where we lack in that, we really pick up in our connection and our relationship in general, which I think is what makes that flow really well.
How long did they say they were married for?
I don't know, because he said once it was locked down, things have been different. So I don't know if maybe he just got married.
I don't know. I heard the 50-1 ratio, and I was just thinking in my head, like, holy fuck, that is not good. So, right, like, if it's every 500 times, she's doing it 10 times, of whatever. So mathematically, it's not working out in your favor. And my personal suggestion is something has to change, because you see people that proceed in life unhappy in their relationships. And, many people stay together forever, which is wonderful. But oftentimes it's people that have no connection. Actually, they're repelling each other, but they decide to stay together for whatever reason. And I understand, absolutely. I'm not advocating for people splitting up or getting divorced or anything like that. But what I'm saying is in those situations, 999 times out of 1,000, it gets worse.
Right.
It's not one of those things that self-improves. It's not like you fucking cut yourself on something and a scab happens, and then a little bit later it falls off and voila, you're all good again. It's like, no, this shit just keeps piling on top of each other. And then what happens, like, we're all fucking animals, right? We're human beings. So what do we need? What is one of those things in Maslow's hierarchy of needs? It's sex, right? Or however they present it. But the affectionate side of people is that we need that connection.
Right.
Right. So like and sexual connection as well. And so if you're not receiving that from your wife and she's not receiving that from you, that will work itself out.
Yeah.
You will each respectively find different people. It may be 5, 10, 15 years from now when all that angst and anger and frustration that you've been keeping bottled up inside finally fucking lets loose in a way that, you meet a coworker or you're at the fucking grocery store or you're at the gas pump pumping your fucking gas, and the person across from you just happen to have a conversation and bam, that spark hits. And here you've been with this person who you have not been having a sexual intimate relationship with, and then bam, you go off with somebody else doing it secret, in secret. And notice what I have left absent. I'm not defending this guy.
Right.
I'm not saying that, you know what, he could be a fucking asshole. I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying he could be the one that's a dick. And we're only getting one half of the story. And it could be her like, look, I try to do this, I try to do that, and he's not the one receptive. But the point being is that you have to fix that shit.
Well, and even if she is feeling that way, then it's like you're saying, there's something going on somewhere. So somewhere something's not clicking. And I can definitely see where I'm very grateful you and I don't ever get into a place where we're like resentful and then withholding sex from each other or anything like that, physical touch, anything. Because that for me wouldn't work. Just like I'm read, that guy's confession, and I feel for him. Like that does suck to not have that connection with your partner that you obviously crave so much. And that was my initial thought when I read that confession, was that, well, your wife doesn't seem that interested. Maybe there's a reason she's not that interested. Maybe there's something going on with her, or maybe she's already kind of moved past that and has met that intimacy connection that does do it for her, which is a cause and effect of your communication not lining up.
Or it could be that this guy, when they got married, was in great shape. And oftentimes when people get married, or when people are playing the dating game and trying to attract somebody, they get themselves in real good physical shape. They present themselves well. And then we get married and things are fun and happy for a little bit. And then life happens and then shit starts slowly fucking tapering off. And you know what? I'm the pot calling the kettle black here right now, because I've been a lazy fuck for the past few months and haven't been doing much on the physical fitness realm. So,
but you're hot.
But and I'm bald now.
I was going to say that here in a second.
You didn't even touch on that.
Or you can mix up a haircut.
But so, yeah, exactly. But so, it's important to take care of yourself too. And I'm not saying that this is a reason once again, but if you want to have somebody more attracted to you, then fucking make yourself better. So, sorry to interrupt, but it's like David Goggins says. He says, don't wish, and this really shouldn't be in the context of with your spouse, but he says, don't wish it was easy, wish you were better.
Right.
Meaning that the situation is what it is, and it's not always supposed to be easy, but the good news is that you can improve yourself.
Right. So,
and there's a lot of fucking people who have written a lot of different books about everything. So, so if there's some, intimacy lacking in your relationship, I would advise maybe picking up a book of someone that, you do some research about and respect that may cover the topic quite well.
Yeah. And to be fair, I think it's all about knowing your partner too, because as far as initiation, there's not a lot of times. My form of initiation is like putting my ass over on Mr. B, or like, where I make it obvious. So there's not a lot of times where like, I'm going to initiate and just like start sucking your dick. That's probably not going to happen. Sorry,
it never happens.
Yeah, exactly. So as far as initiating, maybe that's a conversation that you have with your wife.
Well, but he also said that the initiation thing was a 50-to-1 ratio.
Yes.
But then at the very end, he said that it was essentially tied to being a reward, like
Yes.
you've done, and that's the fucked up part, right?
Yes.
Like, I that really bothers me when I hear that, like, because I think that that's maybe not most, but there's definitely a plurality of people that there's a big group of, especially men, that only get sex from their spouse or their significant other when their behavior has been deemed good or acceptable,
Yeah.
or you did this, or it's like, what the fuck
Like
is
you're a
that?
pet.
Like,
Good
yeah,
job.
like, oh, you took out the trash today. I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna grab your dick for fucking 2 minutes. Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck is this? Like,
Yeah. I think one thing also, because I touched on a little bit of like, you and I, we don't go on dates. We have a life. We have things going on. We have a family. We have things, it's not always optimal for us to take a whole date night and go somewhere and enjoy each other's company with just us. So I think that we find ways to do that within our daily life. So, like, one thing that you and I do is we fucking watch Kill Tony, and you and I really enjoy watching an episode of Kill Tony before we go to sleep. We enjoy laughing. It's kind of time where you and I get to hang out. We're chilling, munching on things. And I think that time is kind of important. And then I think also our time in the evening in the bedroom. Now we're exhausted, but we also take that time that we do have alone to pursue things like that. And I think it's important to like make time like that. You don't always have to have a date night and get a babysitter and go out and do this. That may work for some people. That's not how our relationship works. We find times throughout the day, little times that we can enjoy with each other. And I think that's kind of important, is changing your mindset shift to like, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It doesn't have to be a big crazy thing. It can just be you and your partner eating ice cream at the end of the night, watching something funny, little
yeah,
things like that. I think it also requires just a mindset shift of like your expectations. We've talked about this a lot in the past, your expectations of what a relationship, what a marriage should look like, and then changing that to what fits and works for you.
yeah. Yeah, and the thing is like, you said, we don't always have date nights because it's not optimal, and other things. Like, the reality is it's not practical for
Right.
us. Like, we would love to have date nights, just like many other people listening right now that have a spouse, but it's like, or a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, um, but but right now in our lives, the way things are going, like, it's just not a practical, it's not feasible to be having date nights,
Right.
right? So, like, so we have to, and this is where self-awareness is key. And I know we've talked a lot about that on the podcast before, but like you have to understand your situation,
Mhm.
because everybody's situation is different.
Yes.
So find ways to improve yourself and improve the situation, because we're sitting here, and you read this guy's issue that he's having with his wife
Mhm.
about not having sex, but the only thing that he can do is that we often get stuck into, oh my God, look at what this person did to me. My wife is not having sex with me, or my husband is not having sex with me. And like we talked about, this could be something that is on their end and they're not even seeing.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
like to use the simple example, oh, maybe they gained fucking 40 pounds since they got married. And maybe he's just too blind, in a sense, metaphorically speaking, to see that would be an issue with his spouse. So
Or
what you can do is you can improve yourself.
right.
And if that's what's lacking, then start going to the gym, start doing something better. Or maybe it's your communication is lacking. Find better ways to communicate.
And maybe it's the wife who has gained some weight and doesn't quite feel, like, you never know what's going on in someone's head. It could be that she doesn't feel sexy. She doesn't. And I know that you're
Oh yeah.
initiating things, and you're trying, and you're giving her affection, and you're doing all these things, but maybe in her head there's just something that she's not satisfied with in herself. And that all comes back to being aware, having awareness to say, okay, this is what's going on. So maybe it takes, for confession number 76, maybe it's going to take you like saying, hey, I really need more physical touch. I need more intimacy. Now, how we do that, I'm open to anything. I'm open to conversations about it. We don't have to go on date nights. We can find things that work for us. But I love you and I want to be with you for a really long time. So let's figure out how we can make this work. And maybe having more of, it always goes back to conversation, but maybe having more of an honest conversation. And maybe you don't. And this is where people's expectation, when you leave that conversation, things still might not be where you want them to be, but at least you can both leave the conversation and both think about things. And hopefully your wife thinks about things from her end and you think about things from your end. I really like the person that, so in the confessions, you can start a thread under one confession. And so that's what quite a few people did on this one, because a lot of people relate to this. But I really liked what?
I was gonna say it hit a nerve, huh?
Yeah, it did. It did. That's why I was like, oh, this is going to be a topic, because I could tell the guys on here are really like, they like this guy. Number 77 responded to him and said, I completely understand you. I'm going through more or less the same thing. Hang in there. Find a way to talk to her about what's happening without putting blame on either of you. Hope it gets better. And then 78 said, I know how you feel. I was there as well. My wife would never initiate and turn me down more times than not. It's got a lot better now, but there was a span of a few years where it was hard to get much. So there were quite a few guys that were struggling with the same thing. That last guy sounded like he kind of made it through whatever it was going on. But
yeah, I wish we had him here to ask him the question, well, how did it get better for you? What ended up working itself out, or what did you do to improve, or what did your spouse do to improve things? You were mentioning the original couple we were talking about here, and you were saying, well, maybe it's on her end.
Right.
And that is a very, very good point, because there's a good chance that it is, right? I mean, like, we all understand that the human mind is like one of the most fucking amazing things, and it can be very good, work for you or also work against you. And I think one of the biggest issues that people have is we get stuck in our own heads all the time about shit, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, if this chick, we were talking about, I gave the example of, well, maybe he gained 40 pounds since he got married. Maybe she gained fucking 2 pounds and she's so self-conscious about it.
Right.
And she's so self-conscious about it that she doesn't even want to talk to her husband about the weight she gains. So instead of doing that, then she's just going to stay inside herself.
Right.
And maybe she takes out intentionally, or maybe she doesn't even understand what's happening.
Right.
But because we all have, this is the thing, right? Like, you mentioned we watched Kill Tony, and fucking love that show. And one of the great things about that show is that you see people come up on that stage, and what Kill Tony is Tony Hinchcliffe. He's a comedian, and he has this show to where people can put their name in a bucket to be drawn to come up and give 60 seconds of comedy on the stage, uninterrupted. And then after they do their little bit, then Tony interviews them and asks them questions. Where are you from? How old are you? What's your life like? And all that. And you see it, like, everyone has a fucking story.
Right.
Like, everyone has a story. And Tony always talks about, like, the greatest comedians that go up there are usually the ones that have, like, the most traumatic fucking story. Tony says there's no good comedians whose parents are still married. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But the point being is that there's trauma there in our lives. So bring it back to this story of the husband and wife, and the husband not getting laid. Then, even in marriages where, like, those two people are supposed to know each other the most, like, you don't know your fucking spouse, like, what they went through. Like most of us don't even remember what we went through ourselves. Right. And like, because I think of this shit quite frequently. I'm like, holy fuck, like, there was something that happened in my life when I was fucking 11 years old that I completely forgot about, good or bad, right?
All the time. You're like, wow, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, didn't remember that. And it's like, holy shit, that happened. Well, that's a life experience that shapes us. Right. So your wife may be having, fucking, when she was in 5th grade, somebody may have told her that the jeans she's wearing made her look fat. Right. And she saw these pairs, and it just, like, fucking ruined her. And now she's in this state again. So it goes back to what you mentioned a few minutes ago, that that it kind of all comes back down to this communication thing,
Right.
which is very fucking inconvenient for some of us,
Yeah.
especially people like me that don't like having those difficult conversations with someone you love.
Right.
And you'd rather just, well, maybe this will work itself out. You know, like in the future, it's just going to work itself out, but usually it never does. So you have to fucking step in and make a change, because if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Right. I think giving yourself some grace, because I think marriage is obviously work. Anyone that's married knows that it's a lot of work. And it's not easy, but you can make it work. I believe that you could really make a marriage work with anyone if you put your mind up to it, in my opinion. And so I think that's one of those things, like, you're either going to make it work or you're going to let it destroy you. And you see that happen with a lot of couples, especially when it comes to sex and intimacy. You see that tear a lot of couples up. And a lot of the times because they don't want to communicate and they don't want to be honest about what they want. So I think that is something that works so good in our favor, is that the sex part of our lives is the easiest part for us. We connect very well on that level. And we don't have an issue with that level. And I'm very grateful for that, which is what we try to put out here for you guys. Just, we're not experts, but these are the tools that we use to grow in our marriage. We'll be married for 4 years this year. And I think we've done really well. So anything that we do, I think, can be great advice for people as well going through stuff like this.
Yeah. And like you said, it's like, do what's best for you, have self-awareness for your situation, and, try to improve yourself. And also, we talk about this within ourselves. Like, don't compare yourself to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Don't compare yourself to us, right? Like you may be thinking like, oh, well, PantyNectar and Mr. P have a lot of sex. And it's like you see what we put out.
Right.
Right. And you see the stuff we put on the internet, but like, that's a very, very, very small part of our lives.
Yeah.
So like you're just seeing that. And that may make you believe that we have sex 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, but that's not the case either. Right. So, but your perception of us may make you think that, oh, well, they have sex all the fucking time, and that's what normal is. And what I'm coming to learn is there's no such thing as normal. Right. Because everybody's different. Every situation is different. So be aware of yourself, your situation, and try and improve that.
Yeah.
Try and make little steps to improve yourself first and foremost, because if you're focused on improving your significant other or your spouse, that will never work. And more importantly, when you try to fix somebody else, that could come off is very repulsive. Oh, why are you trying to fix me when you're the one that's fucked up? Right.
Yeah.
Like, so fix yourself. Don't worry about that. Or your significant other. And when your significant other sees you working on yourself and making those improvements, then they may do the same as well. And it may spark something to be like, oh, fuck yeah, I need to correct this.
Yeah.
Or I see what my husband's doing over here, that they're actually trying to improve this section of their life where I believe that they're lacking. So I'm going to, reciprocate in some way.
And I do think that there are situations where maybe you are with the wrong person. There was actually a guy that I met at the UPW in Dallas, Tony Robbins event. And I don't even know if I told you this, but he was like a young guy, maybe in his late 20s or something. And he was so optimistic and so happy. And he said that his wife hated that he was there doing the Tony Robbins stuff, that she was not an advocate for personal growth. She was not a happy person in general. And it wasn't like he was bashing his wife. He was just saying, I'm trying to get better and my wife does not like this. And he said, but we have 3 kids. I'm not divorcing my kid's mother. That's not something I'm going to do. And I do think that there are conversations that need to be had when it is destroying the other person. I think that if you're really seeing that at the end of the day, your values and your ideas and all these things in life don't match up. The guy sounded miserable. It was really sad. He seemed like a great guy. He seemed like he was positive and all about how he can grow financially and what he can do for his family. And his wife was the one thing holding him back. And he was not bashing her. He was like, I'd never divorce her. I'm going to stay with her. But at some point, I wonder when that line is drawn of like, okay, for my mental health and well-being, I do need to step away from this relationship and focus on how I can grow as a person, how I can grow for our family, how I can do all these things. I knew someone else that their wife fucking hated that they got up early to go work out. Fucking hated it. Literally was spiteful towards them for getting up and making themselves better because they were a fat slop. So I don't know. I think sometimes you have to look at everything and realize in your life what is valuable to you and what are some things you're willing to work on and go from there.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, talking about the person you met saying that they didn't want to get a divorce because they have 3 kids or whatever. There's 2 schools of thought on that. It's that the children are so important that we must stay together, because if our marriage falls apart, then our kids will fall apart too. And then the other school of thought is our children are so important that we don't want them growing up and seeing mom and dad in such a hateful, spiteful relationship.
Right.
Which one's right? I don't know.
Right.
But I can tell you that there's a flawed logic in many of the people that believe that I'm going to stay with my kid's mother or stay with my kid's father because
it's the right
that's
thing
the right thing to do. And then when they get 18 and they graduate and they move on, then we'll get a divorce. Well, okay. Well, if your kid's fucking 5 right now, they have 13 more years of living in a hellacious household.
My parents,
where the husband and wife fucking hate each other. They're 2 parents where they fucking hate each other.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that's going to bring a more net positive at the end of those 13 years?
Yeah.
With y'all being together and them seeing y'all fight every fucking day?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer. I'm not advocating for one or the other, but I think that people really need to examine that, because it's a tough situation, right? It's more of a lose-lose type situation, but
it is all about like, I don't think it's about what's right or what's wrong, because my mom did that same thing. She said, I can't leave. I got to wait till the kids graduate. And then come graduation time, it was a bomb that went off because they had been together for over 20 years. You have all these unhappy memories of fighting and things like that because these were 2 people that were not happy together. Right. And in the end, it was a big blow up, and it was very harmful to anyone that was within the explosion area. And I don't think that was the right thing to do, but my mom did think it was the right thing to do. So I think you just have to go off what you think is the move. I don't, it's one of those things where everyone lives a different story. Everyone lives a path, a different, everything. So I think it's all about, we can just give the advice that is from our experience. And I think you apply it to however fits.
Yeah. And if I could give advice, guys, do not cut your own hair.
Do we have let me pull up
because I've cut my own hair for a little bit. And the other day I was using the clippers and I had my whole head done. Yeah. Look at that. Here, let me see if I can.
Oh my gosh.
So let's see if I can get the camera to focus in. Oh no, but you can barely see the streak on the back of my hair right there, back of my head. And so I was using the clippers and I had my whole head. The hair was perfect. And I was just making one last round around the back of my head. So I can't see, and I'm like above the back of my neck, and I'm just like doing this number and shaving, and like no hair's coming off because I've been fucking
going
cutting
over it
for like 20 minutes, like just the same areas, making sure like there's nothing I missed. And so I'm literally like on the last bit that I'm not even supposed to be doing anymore. I should have finished 20 minutes ago, and I hear something hit the floor, like like something plastic. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I turn around as I'm turning to the right, I see a big old chunk of hair fall on the ground right next to the guard that had fallen off. So I was using the clippers and the fucking guard fell off. So it went to just the and I went straight up and made a path, the path of happiness on the fucking back of my neck. And so at that point I was like, I went and got you and I'm like, babe, I was like, how's my hair look? Because it looked good in the front, it looked good all the way out because I had just cut it. And you're like, oh, it looks good. So I turn around, you're like, oh yeah, it looks good. I'm like, babe. Look.
He was so pissed in his voice because I'm like, oh yeah, the top looks good. I'm like, you just missed like a little spot up here. And then he goes, look at the bottom of my head. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it went from, my neckline all the way up to halfway up the back of my head. So then I was like, fuck, well, I guess I'll try to fade it from a 0 up to, the length that I had it cut on top. And I'm like, then I started doing that. And you're like, oh no, you're way too high from where it is. I'm like, well, fuck this. I just went one strip down the middle of my head. Like, that's it. So
that's nice.
So if you look at me and you see that I'm bald right now, then, I don't know. It's funny though, because I used to, I told you as a kid growing up, from when I was probably like 4 or 5 years old to like fucking out of high school, I kept my head shaved. Not this short. I'd do it like on I think we did like a 1 or a 2. Me and my cousin, we used to cut each other's hair. I remember that. And so, because, like when you play football and shit, the worst is having long hair when you're trying to put on a helmet because it's so tight. And so if your head's just bald, a helmet just slides on so easy and slides off so easy. It doesn't get fucking caught in your ears. Of course, that was 25 years ago, and there's probably been a lot more advancements in helmets now.
It was hilarious. I was literally trying not to laugh, but I was like waiting with the broom to sweep up the hair from the bathroom because there was so much hair. You had so much hair before.
Yeah.
And I was literally trying not to laugh so hard. So I was like silently laughing.
Well, there has been pretty good feedback on the baldness. So I think that I'm even going to keep it like this for a while because I can just, shave it like once or twice a week and it'll be good.
You should like shave it with a razor after it gets that short.
I was thinking about that yesterday. So yesterday I shaved my face and I was sitting there looking in the mirror. I'm like, man, I can't imagine those guys that like shave their head bald with a razor every day.
Oh,
there's people out there that do that every day. They shave their head with a razor. And I'm like, I don't know if I could. That takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah,
I believe.
I wouldn't want to shave my head.
I had a beard for a couple years. And the reason I grew a beard was because, I could because, like when I was in the Marine Corps, you had to shave. And then after that, working in aviation, I had to shave because you had to wear a face mask, N95 face mask. So you had to get a respirator fit test for it to fit over your face. And sorry, not an N95, the respirators I was thinking fucking COVID.
I know. I was like, where are we going?
No, these respirators that they had that you wear when you work with Chrome 6, I think, is the carcinogen that's in the paint. So when you disturb that, you have to have a respirator. So you have to have your face shaved clean because they actually do like you go get a fit test where they hook you up to this machine. And they see how much, if it's like fit properly to your face or if like air's seeping in. So when I didn't have to do that anymore, I was like, fuck it, I want to grow a beard out. But the real reason was because I didn't have to shave anymore.
Yeah.
Because I fucking hate shaving. Like, I really do. It's just like.
People ask if I wax or shave, and I'm like, y'all, I shave every 2 days.
Yeah.
And then I get barked at in the bed when he's like, your legs are touching me, cactus. So I literally shave every 2 days, but I enjoy it. Everyone is always like, oh, you should go get laser or wax. It'll last longer. I don't mind spending 5 minutes in the shower shaving, and it gets nice and clean. Everything does. So we're good.
Yeah, my razor got hijacked. So
my friend, I said something about using men's razors. And I said, yeah, we use the same razor. And she goes, wait, y'all use like the same type of razor? And I said, no, we use the same razor.
The same razor.
Oh, but men's razors work so much better. I don't know the ones that we use now, but they are my favorite. They're not the regular Glide orange men's. They're the green and black with the white strip on top, the exfoliator strip or whatever. Amazing.
I think it's the Gillette Pro Lab or something like
Pro
that.
Lab, I think is
Labs,
right.
yeah. It's in like a black box with kind of green.
Best shave ever.
Yeah. It's different though too, because like the strip, you know, that's on like on most razors, it has like the gel strip or whatever
It's
it is.
gooey,
Yeah. Like this is like it's more of like a rubbery thing, I guess.
I love it.
And so it feels kind of different when you're shaving, but it works good.
I
like
them.
it.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I think after the first razor that we got of the Pro Labs, I was like, oh, fuck this thing. Let's go back to the regular one. And then I went back to the regular one, like the Mach 5 or Mach fucking 52, whatever it's at now. I don't know. That one didn't seem to cut as good as
terrible.
The Pro Labs.
Yeah.
So we went back to the.
I remember when we switched back, and I remember like my legs, it did not shave my legs that good at all. I was like, wow. So Pro Labs.
We're going to be hearing from the guys that use straight razors. They're like, oh, fuck those razors you use. Use a straight razor.
And I do have to use shaving cream though. Shaving cream is I never used that before. I just started doing that maybe like a year or two ago, maybe longer than that, but love having some shaving cream.
So you used to not use shaving cream?
I used to not, no. And I think when we first got together, I never used shaving cream. I would just shave. And I realized the top of my legs would always break out after I would shave. I don't know why, but I remember even someone at the gym one day was like, why do your legs look like that? And I'm like, I don't know. But I started using shaving cream and that fixed it.
I shaved my balls with your shaving cream the other day.
Did you?
Yeah. It was the stuff it was awesome. The stuff in the pink bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Eco or something.
I don't recall what it is, but it's like, it's not your typical gel. It's a cream.
They say it can be wet or dry. You can use it either way.
And it lathered up so well, and it didn't run off, because I shave my cock and balls in the shower. Right? People are always asking me.
Cock and balls,
right? I hate listening to Kill Tony, and they're like, "Oh, so the penis?" It's like, it's not who the fuck says penis and vagina? Can we say like dick and pussy? Like,
no, they're like William's parents put his penis in her vagina.
Oh yeah, so I shave my dick and my balls in the shower.
Yes,
and so. It's best in there, I think. I don't know.
It's best in there.
It's like makes the most sense because it's hot, like a hot shower. So I used to shave my dick with like the wall trimmer, and just like have like no guard or like a one on there. But now I do it with like a razor, and it works out well. But that shaving cream that you had is like a legit cream. It's not a foam.
Yeah, and yours is foamy.
Yes, because I use just like the traditional orange bottle Gillette. But the cream shit works really, really good on my dick. I only use it once though, so I probably need to pick it up again.
So people always ask me how I get such a good shave, and I'll demonstrate right here for you guys. So you literally, when you're shaving, I obviously get the underneath part, but then when you're shaving this top part, you just have to go up and then get up all the way. And then once you do the sides, you have to go out sideways. And that is literally how you can get a perfect ass shave. People are always asking me like, oh, you must wax. And I'm like, no, I just know how to get that fucking hair right.
Well, so that must be the direction in which your hair grows,
yes.
Right?
So you grow, it goes up this way. And then as it starts, I go out that way. So literally gets it perfect.
But if your hair grows in a different direction, they might. But I think because the reason I say that is because like my neck, let's see, it's weird like trying to fill it. I can only see which way it looks in the mirror. This side of my neck right here on my right side, I guess, kind of like when I shave, I have to go like this direction because my hair fucking grows like that way.
Okay.
Whereas like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like this, like my hair grows in at different angles on each side of my neck. and I guess it's kind of equivalent to like maybe having a cowlick or something, right? Like not everybody has a cowlick in certain locations on that, but some people do.
Right.
So I guess just kind of figuring out which direction your hair grows in.
And you literally just have to go like those hairs grow this way. So you just have to go the opposite and it will get such a good, especially with those razors and the shaving cream.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing shaving tutorials.
You should let me wax you.
Oh God. Okay. Let me wax you then.
No, that's not how it works. The women go and get waxed, right?
I have never gotten a wax before.
I'll heat it up to like fucking 300 degrees and burn you on accident.
I have friends that go religiously and they're always like, yeah, you just bust it open in front of them. They're like, my girl's real good. I'm like, and you have to take time out of your day to go do that. I would rather just shave in the shower.
What's with this new sugaring thing or whatever it's called? Like, isn't that like a type of hair
waxing or something? Oh, sugaring. No,
isn't that like a hair removal thing?
We had a guy on OnlyFans that was he would tell me that he did sugaring, and that was the way that he got his. He was like an older man too, and the fact that he was so into that. But he talked about sugaring. I don't know exactly what it is.
Is there any like use of actual like real sugar?
No, I think that's what it exfoliates. Like it actually, I don't know exactly what it does, but the guy was highly recommending the sugaring if you need to shave, wax, get everything spotless.
Okay, so according to Claude is a great AI. We left ChatGPT. Fuck them
in the dust.
So I asked Claude, what is sugaring to remove hair or exfoliate skin? And Claude says sugaring is a method of hair removal and exfoliation that originated in ancient Egypt. Do they have sugar in fucking Egypt?
I guess they did.
It's similar to waxing, but uses a paste made from natural ingredients. Here's an overview. Ingredients. The sugaring paste typically consists of sugar, water, and lemon juice.
Oh.
Ow, fuck that. They couldn't come up with something better than lemon juice. Some recipes may include other natural ingredients like honey or essential oils. There we go. Process. 1. The paste is applied to the skin in the opposite direction of hair growth. So like you're saying, getting up under the hair.
There we go.
2. It's then quickly pulled off in the direction of hair growing. So pulling it with the direction that hair grows. So you apply it one direction and the opposite way of which it grows. So here you would apply it this way. And then when they pull it off, they would yank it that way. It makes sense. Removing hair from the root. 3. The same ball of paste can be reused multiple times during a session. So if you're going, you might be getting somebody else's paste from the one before you. If you think you're getting a fresh thing of paste, you're getting that old nasty ass paste from the fucking lady that left before you. The benefits, it says hair removal removes hair from the roots, leading to longer lasting results compared to shaving. Nice. Exfoliation. It says it's less painful. Many people find it's less painful than traditional waxing. Natural ingredients, appealing to those preferring organic or chemical-free options. 5, less heat required. The paste is typically used at body temperature, reducing the risks of burns. That's interesting.
That is interesting. The guy highly recommended it. So
uses. Sugaring can be used on various body parts, including legs, arms, underarms, and bikini area. It's suitable for both men and women. Says considerations. It may not be suitable for very sensitive skin or certain skin conditions. Professional application is recommended, especially for beginners, though at-home kits are available. Regular exfoliation between sessions can help prevent ingrown hairs. You know, that's something I haven't got any of. Like
not with that razor.
I used to get ingrown hairs.
Not with that razor.
But even like on my neck and shit, like it's sometimes, you know, like it wasn't often, but I haven't had an ingrown hair in years now. I hadn't even thought of that. It's kind of strange.
Yeah.
Maybe it's probably because I'm fucking not having any hair grow in, right? I'm going bald. It's like, it makes sense. When you quit growing hair, you quit getting ingrown hairs. So.
That's true. Well, thank you guys for joining us for this episode all about relationships and shaving. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a 5-star review wherever you're listening to the podcast, and we will see you guys next time.
See ya.
Don't forget, you can watch on X, though. You can watch these podcasts over on X, Pain and Nectar Podcast. Check it out.